Hey, I want you to look at this. This is the National Data Buoy Center for all the buoys across the world that measure waves and tsunamis and that kind of thing. And they basically ping a signal off the ground floor, and then it pings back to the buoy, which can then tell you how high or low the waves are going, because it's going to ping back in milliseconds to let the computer system know or whatever. It's interesting because there's one buoy, I think it's somewhere off of Australia, that's been showing that either a wave is rising or the ocean floor is rising like 13 feet or something like that per day. And it's been going on for like at least 2 months now. Which obviously it's not a wave. It has to be the ocean floor rising in that spot, which would explain, say, an underwater volcano or that kind of thing would explain that type of thing. That's exactly what the webbots have been talking about for a while now as well. So this is the east coast of the United States, and you can see there's a few little red ones here and there. Here's the Great Lakes. There's a few little red ones. That means there's no data. They're like not on. They're not collecting data, whatever. And then we have the Gulf of Mexico. Big difference. Real big difference. A significant amount of these things, buoys, are red. They are turned off or not sending data so that we cannot see it. The question is, for how long has this been going on? How long have these things been turned off? Was it before April this year? Was it before 2010, etc.? And I don't know. I clicked on historical data, but it doesn't show you what you wanna see. So, anyways, if the BP oil disaster is somewhere around here, then we have to ask ourselves: is there something else going on here? All right, so we have to ask ourselves: why is all those the buoys? Why are all those buoys turned off? And again, I don't know for how long that they've been turned off, because I've never been looking at that data, and I don't know anyone who has been. But it is an awful lot of buoys in the Gulf of Mexico to be turned off right now, at least. And I thought about something after I read another story of another oil leak in China this time, which is just a few days ago it happened. And it was some kind of pipeline to one of their refineries or something like that. The article really didn't say much other than it's a massive amount of oil leaking. It's devastating. There's pictures of people being pulled out of water that were like dunked full, almost like they were a donut being dunked into some kind of, chocolate or something. I mean, it was just, their whole entire bodies were filled. And there just wasn't much news on it. But my question would be, is this pipeline that burst, is it in the water or underground? Would the ground moving affect this thing in China from blowing? Or was it an act of sabotage? I don't know. We also have, I believe it was shortly after the BP spill, about a month and a half or so later, I think it might have been around June, where there was another almost exact thing that happened with BP, happened in the Red Sea on one of, I don't know who owned it, but an oil rig. It was almost identical. and the last thing I heard was that we think we had it capped and we got the leaks fixed. And then in the last report that I read was from June, and it said, oh, no, not yet. We retract that. It appears to be leaking again. And I haven't found out anything else on that. Even if it is fixed and it's not leaking, that's not, doesn't mean anything. I really could care less about that. And here's why. When I started researching all these things, about the governments, what governments do, how the bankers rule, how money is created, how debt is created, the whole thing, the whole society, everything that we're told is nothing but a lie. Global warming's another big lie. I thought Al Gore was great at first until I started researching that, and I started researching that whole global, warming thing because I saw his video. And I quickly learned he's full of crap, lying, sleazy politician. And that led me to the 2012 date because it was part of the Earth change thing, and I started studying that for a while. And I've been studying all this stuff for the past 4 or 5 years now. And when I noticed, these oil accidents, so to speak, happening left and right, it seems. And, we've got technology. We've been doing this for a long time. These kind of things don't normally just happen. But here's my theory, and this is a pure opinion of mine. Not much facts to back it up, but there are some facts to back it up. But at this point, it's just an opinion. It's a possibility. If the ground, whether on the seafloor or elsewhere, but specifically in this case, the seafloor, is in fact experiencing earth changes such as volcanic activity, ground being spewed out, which of course is going to displace water, which again, this is all in the webbot and it makes sense. They didn't give the reason why, but I think it's because of the 2012 alignment with the center of the galaxy that takes place in 2012. Anyways, if the earth changes are snapping or breaking or causing leaks of these oil rigs, which there are thousands and thousands and thousands of them across the planet. There's thousands of them in the Gulf of Mexico, for Christ's sakes. If these earth changes are causing the earth or the pipelines to break, the wells to break, to leak, etc., and this happened, let's say, February, because I'm reading reports of certain data from BP back in February where they were having some leaks with other wells that they had to inform the government on. Not to the size of this one in the Gulf now, but I started thinking, government always needs a scapegoat. They always have to point the finger at somebody, and whoever takes the blame doesn't just say, yeah, I did this on purpose, I'm sorry. It's simply, I was incompetent. Financial industry, the whole finance industry, everybody that was responsible for that were incompetent. Goldman Sachs, incompetent. Everybody, incompetent. The Iran-Contra scandal of the 1980s, everybody there is incompetent. Some things got away from us. Everywhere you go, it's incompetence. So now BP is incompetent. What if BP is taking the blame for this because the matter of national security, if the government said, well, actually it's not an oil leak or a disaster, so to speak, unnatural, the earth is doing something under the ground, under the sea floor that we've never seen before, and it's causing our oil rigs and pipelines down there to snap. And maybe it's a pipeline that's ran underneath the sea, because I know they run pipelines to the sea also. Maybe that's what's bursted, and they're bursting at the seams all over the place because of the earth changes. And the cover-up is actually blaming it on BP and saying, well, BP is going to take the hit for this. And they're going to be like, yeah. And the whole time, BP is going to act incompetent the entire time, which is exactly what's happening right now. And every time we hear something, it's getting better, it's getting worse. Oh, looks good. No, it's not. Oh, I think they've got it capped finally. No, you don't. And then it's just, how many times have we extended this thing now? 24 hours. Another 24 hours. We need another 24 hours. You don't need anything besides the first 48 hours to figure out something's devastatingly wrong. The extra 24 hours, okay, fine. But now you want to do it again. And now you want to do it again. Bullshit. So if that's what's causing this problem, it would explain why all of a sudden the same thing happened in the Red Sea, and it might explain this new thing in China, if this one in China has something to do with the ground moving and caused a pipe to snap. Who knows? It's just a theory or a possibility. So think about how the government would absolutely never ever want to tell the people, oh hey, by the way, the entire Gulf of Mexico is going to be nothing but a pool of oil, because all of the oil rigs, all of the oil wells, all of the underground piping is pretty much going to be in big trouble because they're breaking left and right, and we can't tell you that, because if they did, the whole entire Gulf region again will have to be evacuated at that point. It'd be just out of control. Way more out of control than it is now. So that's just something to think about, and I've got my eye on these earth changes, and I can tell you last year, 2009, volcanic activity was up 400% than normal. This year, it's up 200%. So, that's significant. I'm also watching the earthquakes. They're bigger, more powerful, they're coming more frequently this year especially, and I think all this is tied in together. Even if it was a big mistake of BP, and maybe they did it on purpose for whatever reasons, maybe it was an accident, I still am very worried, quite worried, that when the big earthquakes and the big earth changes start coming in droves, which it seems like we're getting close to that happening, it could automatically cause all those oil wells to basically be crap and spew out anyways, even if my theory right now is wrong. So anyways, that's all I wanted to bring up for the time being. Something to keep your eye out when you're doing your investigations and researching this stuff. So I'll talk to you guys later.